Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here. Sunday, August 24th. Did not get that game recap out for y'all last night because we were celebrating the wife's birthday. Shout out to her. Had a good time with her and all of our friends. So getting this game recap for Jaguars and Dolphins preseason week 3, the final preseason game for the Jaguars of the 2025 preseason. It is on to the regular season. We are now 2 weeks away from the Jaguars hosting the Carolina Panthers in regular season week 1. But before we get to that, before we get to roster cutdowns, we got to talk about this football game, a game in which the Jaguars starters did not play. A lot of the second string players did not play. We're going to get into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section below. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, support the channel further, look good while doing it, get a hat like the one I'm wearing right now. So, Jaguars-Dolphins recap. I think that the number one takeaway for either team is that the Dolphins starters did not look much better than the Jaguars' second to third string. There were some second string guys out there. And some guys, I mean, Mason Smith could end up being a starter at some point. He's got some ways to go in terms of, just getting back into football because he just got back off the PUP list and this was his first game. But other than that, I mean, you're looking at a lot of guys out there that are not making the football team, stopping the Dolphins' number one offense, moving the ball a little bit against the Dolphins' number one defense. Yeah, I mean, I think the Dolphins starters looked better than the Jaguars. Again, mostly third stringers, but not a whole lot better. That's the number one takeaway for the Dolphins. I mean, that is not good. Tua Tagovailoa, and yeah, you didn't have your top receivers. That's fair for the Dolphins, right? But you got your starting OL, got your starting quarterback. Where is the points? I mean, it took them until like 11 minutes left in the first half to put points on the board. So I would be concerned if I was, covering the Dolphins. But for the Jaguars, that's great. A lot of guys that were third, fourth string, second string here and there doing a decent job. And you had on the first drive, Jaquindon Jackson did a really bad job in pass protection. That led to a sack. The Dolphins were just blitzing, sending so much pressure. Obviously, Jaquindon Jackson having to try to block Chop Robinson one-on-one. I mean, that's a difficult scenario. He could have done a little bit better of an effort, but overall, they were really trying to heat up the Jaguars' backfield. And when the Dolphins were showing that, the Jags were like, all right, well, screen. That's the perfect answer to that. Honestly, when you have a defense that is really not playing fundamentally sound, just trying to get in the backfield at all costs, yeah, hit the screen. And then you had John Wolford using his wheels to get close to the first down, and then you picked it up on 4th and 1 on the first drive. A Trenton Irwin drop ended the first drive. Pretty disappointing drop, in that scenario. But Trenton Irwin, Austin Trammell, these are your guys that are competing right now, it looks like, to be wide receiver 5. And I do think the Jaguars, as we talked about, probably should be in the receiver market. Not for a 1, 2, 3, or even 4 necessarily, because you have Parker. But I don't really think you have a guy on the roster who screams, keep this guy as your 5th receiver. And there's definitely no one that screams, keep this guy as your 6th receiver either. So, yeah. Sean Payton, kind of put the Jaguars out there when talking about the Devon Vele trade. They should be in the market. They absolutely should. Trenton Irwin drop ended the first Jaguars offensive drive. Danny Striga sacked Tua to end the Dolphins' first offensive drive. And he's been very active in these games for the Jaguars. Had a really good first preseason game, was a little bit more quiet last week, and then popped again tonight, and the Jags starting, or mostly third stringers, four stringers going out there and stopping the Dolphins was pretty impressive. Jaquindon Jackson, I mentioned he didn't do great in pass pro on the first drive. I do think overall he played a good game. Obviously, you got to do a little bit better job in pass pro, but this is a guy not going to make the 53. You're not going to keep 5 running backs unless there's like a trade or something like that. But he was out there a lot of the night, and he broke some tackles. He showed some good vision, some toughness, even made a catch coming out of the backfield. So I do think Jaquindon Jackson overall acquitted himself well. I think Kevin Harris looked pretty good too. So Jaguars runners did a good job. A bad snap ended the second drive for the Jaguars. I think that was Jerome Carvin, who hasn't been around here very long, but it was a really, really bad snap, unfortunately, for the Jags there. BJ Green, another edge with Danny Strigout. These guys have consistently stood out. BJ Green stood out the most. He got up under a tight end and then around James Daniels for a sack. That guy is explosive. He's powerful. I don't know how you cut BJ Green. That's going to be a really difficult decision there at edge, because Strigout has made plays. Green has made a ton of plays. Entering this game, he was, in terms of pressure rate, the number 1 player in preseason in the NFL. And you continue to see that with him here. He made some plays as well, like against screens, against the run. Really good stuff. Not so good stuff. I mean, Malik Washington left Chad Muma in the dust. Shades of Bijan Robinson in London against Chad Muma. And Malik Washington looked really good. He's a guy that I was pretty big on coming out of Virginia. But is Chad Muma not going to make the football team? He played the whole game. So did Jack Kaiser, but Jack Kaiser's a rookie trying to get his feet wet in the NFL that the Jaguars drafted in the 4th round this year. Is Chad Muma not going to make the team? If I had to say right now, I think he's played his last time in Jacksonville with the Jaguars. We'll see, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Like I said, Dolphins offense, it took them forever to get anything going against the Jaguars backups, which again was a blend of 2nd, 3rd, 4th string guys. Mostly the latter, 3rd and 4th. Austin Trammell had a bad drop that stopped Seth Hennigan's first drive on offense. But I think overall, outside of the interception at the end of the game, Hennigan did well. And even on that interception, he got down there and he made the play to stop the returner. He didn't do anything spectacular. There wasn't like any nice shots down the field or anything. But he executed the offense mostly. And a lot of it was quick game. And that's what the Jaguars offense probably will be when you have that type of crew on the field. But I thought that was impressive overall. I thought that he did a pretty good job. Seth Hennigan did. Again, Austin Trammell and Trent Irwin both having drops in this game does not give you a lot of confidence in that back end of the wide receiver room. Jack Kaiser, he had a really good sack, next drive on a money down. Dolphins were driving the ball, and he got a sack and on 3rd down on a blitz, and it was really nice. Kind of a little delayed hesitation. He looked like he was about to, check out to fall back into coverage, and then he fired into the backfield. And that's another big takeaway, is that the Jaguars were aggressive defensively. And, I mean, I think they had 6 sacks, something like that. They were heating up the quarterback in a really, really good way. And then situational masters, they were able to get into that field goal range pretty easily. They got to the 59-yard field goal, which Cam Little, for them, that's almost like a point after try at this point. But in terms of difficulty, but he nailed it to end the first half. And so after the first half, you had the Jaguars down 8-6. Dolphins played a lot of starters. Jaguars didn't. Like I said, that is pretty much the story of the night, in my opinion. Outside of Muma playing the whole game, that was pretty, that was telling, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know that there was anybody playing a lot of snaps that's really going to make this football team. I don't think either quarterbacks are going to make the team. I think the Jaguars will try to stash Seth Hennigan. I don't know that any of those receivers will make the team. I think running back is pretty locked up unless there's a trade. Offensive line wise, I don't know that any of the guys out there were, 53 guys. Yeah. Defensive front, Mason Smith played. Obviously, he'll be on the team. I don't know how you cut BJ Green. I know they will want to keep him around here. They're probably going to try to get him on the practice squad, but I don't know how you cut that guy because he's been electric. And I liked him coming out of Colorado. We talked about him when the Jaguars first released their, undrafted free agent signings. That was one of the guys that I was excited about. Travis Hunter's teammate at Colorado. So is Cameron Silman Craig, who he made some plays in this game too at safety. So good for him. I think he'll have a future in the league. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's many guys that were on the field a lot other than rookies that are going to make this team. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. We're going to have more analysis on, the Jaguars 53 coming up and getting ready for the regular season. It's really almost here. We had college football this weekend, fantasy draft tonight. Maybe able to get Brian Thomas Jr. We've got keepers, so like the first round is technically the keepers. Got Bijan, and maybe stacking there with Bijan and BTJ to kind of build the foundation of my football team. We'll find out tonight. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.